Your topic for today is going to be information technology on and its applications on community health, education, and research. So more or less, this is going to be your final lessons for this finals period. The last lesson, the future of nursing informatics, will be discussed by your Ma'am Colleen, right? So my topics, my objective for the following topics is number one, to present to you the different concepts and the technologies that are or that we use in the community setting, the research setting, and the education setting. Okay, so more or less, this will be a glimpse of the technologies that are applied in these particular fields. Okay, so my first stop is going to be about ICTs in community health. So this is going to be quite comprehensive because of RA 11223, okay, or RA 11223, recently signed by President Duterte. Okay, so this is actually going to be um, a discussion of that, okay, or what it entails. Anyways, moving on. Okay, in e-health in the community or in the the use of information and communication technology in the community, we all know that healthcare really depends greatly on communication, di ba? Communication between the nurse and the patient, communication between healthcare professionals, communication between organizations, communications from the government to the general public. So it's very communication intensive, it's very data intensive. And one of the core elements of e-health, therefore, is actually our use of um, electronic technologies to enhance these communications for the purpose of furthering our goals in healthcare. Diba? So, although we all know that face-to-face assessment and communication is still very important, in many instances, my dear children, communication using this new means or technology can actually supplement and enrich our meetings and the way we deliver healthcare. And that is especially true in the community. But when using ICT in the community or in any other field, what we must remember is that the effectiveness of its use will always require knowledge. So, moving on, let us define e-health. What is e-health? So, the first definition of e-health is the use of information and communication technology for health. And number two, e-health is recognized by WHO as a cost-effective way in using information and communication technology. So it is in the context of healthcare services, health surveillance, health literature, health education, and research. Okay? So dito ngayon papasok, ano ba ang kahalagahan ng e-health? So here, we must remember, like what I've told you, that nursing is a very data intensive practice. Okay? So, papasok dito yung tinatawag nilang power and data of communication or of information. So, what is this? Okay? In the community setting, okay, the power and data of information relies on the following concepts. First, okay, it relies on the continuity of interoperability of care stops in unlikely event that records get misplaced. So kung naaalala nyo yung mga lesson nyo, why do we use ICT? Because we need good records. Diba? We need records that won't deteriorate. And our end goal, is to have a one record for one person for all institutions. Naalala nyo pa yung EHR ninyo. Diba? Okay? Um, another power of using ICTs in the community is that it supplants illegible handwriting. The problem with paper records is that there is a huge chance of misinterpretation of data. because you cannot understand what is written. Diba? Another, when using information and communication technologies, um, this actually promotes privacy, especially nowadays that privacy is a very, very important facet in the public eye. Dahil nga doon sa tinatawag nilang Data Privacy Act. Diba? So, napakahalaga niyan. And when you use ICT, there are certain safeguards for that. Okay? Another, using ICT, my dear children, will make aggregation or compilation of data much, much, much easier because you could always, always look at it in a glance and everything is going to be there. Okay? And the last, okay, advantage is that the actual time for patient care, okay, is increased. Why? Because when you do paper records, most of the time, or this is actually what takes up the time of the nurses inside the hospital, di ba? Yung isa, nag-carry out ng order. Yung isa, walang ginawa kundi mag-record. But if we use ICT, if we apply ICT, okay, if we applied new technologies, we could actually increase the actual time for patient care, right? So, yun po yun. Now, having discussed this, it is a very good time for us to get a glimpse of what really is happening in the Philippines when it comes to e-health. Ano bang meron dito? Okay, e-health in the Philippines, situational. In 2001, according to studies, okay, 2.5% of the population had internet access. And this has exponentially increased over the years. As you well know, um, almost all of us have internet connections, although at varying speeds, di ba? So more or less, the majority of the population now has internet access. Okay? In 10 years, sabi dyan, 29% cell phone rate of 80%, and we now have 73 million subscribers as of 2009. And the Philippines is ranked first in the SMS use worldwide. Cellphone na nga lang daw or aso na nga lang daw ang walang cellphone. So that is what we have in the Philippines. Another is 70% of the population in the rural areas sa probinsya have have limited access to in or outpatient care services. Bakit? Kasi walang facility. May cellphone sila? Meron. So, can you get what I'm pointing out? Wala silang facility, pero may cellphone sila. Meron silang internet. Diba? Oh, next, with regard to health demographics, we have what we call segmented distribution of health facilities and healthcare providers. Another problem with this is that the Philippines naturally has what? A very bizarre, sabihin natin bizarre geographic characteristics. Di ba? Sabi nga nila sa sibika at kultura sa hekasin ninyo nun, pulo-pulo ang Pilipinas. Isla-isla. So kalat-kalat din ang ating health facilities. Kalat-kalat din ang ating healthcare providers. Wala kasi tayong isang malaking land area. Okay? That is the reason why only 13% of healthcare providers, 40% tertiary hospitals are situated in non-urban areas. Majority of these healthcare providers or hospitals are found in cities or urban areas. And because of that, in rural areas, the average travel for you to be able to get to a hospital is 39 minutes according to studies. Diba? So 39 minutes po. Diba? Ang sabi natin nun, ideally, nung nag-primary healthcare tayo, at least 15 minutes away. Diba? Pero dito, sabi nga, 39 minutes daw ang average travel. So it's going to take quite a long time. Okay? Oh, another. um, Mobile technologies and availability of internet services, people, is very, very proliferate here in the Philippines. We have Globe, we have Sun, whatever. Diba? So because of this, the DOH has actually, or the Department of Health has actually exploited this and introduced health information systems by using different information and communication technologies that they could get their hands on. The aim of this is to improve access to health data. So several examples were given, which later I will discuss one by one. So EFHSIS, ONES, Philippine Health Atlas, and the Universal or United Health Management Information System. Okay, so having said that, my dear children, these are your e-health in the community. Okay, so unahin ko muna to, the Universal Healthcare and ICT. I have mentioned kanina, by virtue of the signing of RA 11223 or the Universal Healthcare Act, um, this was in the news. Ito yung tinatawag nilang PhilHealth Law. Okay? But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's just, limited to PhilHealth and the public insurance. No. The signing of RA 1123 actually paved the way for a lot of improvements that are going to include the finances, okay, which is going to include coverage for everybody or automatic coverage for insurance or health insurance, healthcare facilities or the improvement of healthcare facilities, the building of healthcare facilities. Kasi nga, si President Duterte, di ba? Build, build, build siya. Okay? Another is the improvement of data and the turnaround time for those particular data or data needs. And, okay, our focus, the improvement of technology in healthcare in all facets or ICT. Okay? Kasi for them to be able to give quality healthcare, they the DOAH in partnership with the WHO has acknowledged and recognized the need to up the ante when it comes to technology. Yun po yun. Kaya dito siya ngayon na improve sa universal healthcare. Now, universal healthcare, also known as kalusugang pangkalahatan, aims to attain efficiency by using IT or information technology in all the agencies of healthcare, like what I've previously mentioned. There are three priority health directions of kalusugang pangkalahatan. Yung sabi ko kanina, financial or financial risk protection, improve access to quality hospitals and facilities, and attainment of health-related MDGs. I think this was discussed to you before. The Philippines is one of the problem countries when it comes to attainment of MDGs, specifically in the areas of maternal mortality and child mortality. That is the reason why we need to improve our healthcare. Aside from the fact that our country boasts one of the highest amounts of out-of-pocket expenses among people. Ano pa ibig sabihin nun? Sa ibang bansa kasi, the expenses when they get sick are usually subsidized by the government through the government health insurances that they provide. Here in the Philippines, yes, we have PhilHealth, but it's not 100%. So according to literature, according to studies, more than 60% of our healthcare expenditure actually comes from our own pocket. And kalusugang pangkalahatan or the universal healthcare law aims to address that. Okay? And it also aims to address that by using information technology. Right? So, paano po yun? Ano ang applications nun? Dito ngayon pumapasok yung tinatawag nilang telemedicine. Okay? Telemedicine. Sir, ano po ba yung telemedicine? Terms such as telehealth or telemedicine have in the past been used interchangeably to refer to health services delivered using electronic technology to patients at a distant place or at a different geographical location. So given the wide breadth of services that we could actually give to such clients, um, what we now use is telehealth. Kasi nga, usually it's going to be mobile phones or landlines that we use. All right? Kaya siya tinatawag na telemedicine. So if you are going to go back to our brief background there a while ago, okay, the problem is geographic location or our geography. So one of the five goals of the DOH National eHealth Strategic Framework for 2010 to 2016 is to capitalize on information and communication technology by using telemedicine. So this is aimed to provide better health services to you, to yung diniscuss natin doon sa community GIDA, geographically isolated, depressed areas. Diba? How are they going to do that? Phones, my dear children. Gadgets. Kasi everybody now has a phone or a gadget at their disposal. So the DOH, the government, is just going to exploit that particular area, okay, by introducing ICTs or systems or technologies that could utilize such um, gadgets. Okay, so according to the WHO, there are four elements of telemedicine or telehealth, if you want. Okay, first, why do we use telehealth? The purpose of telehealth is to just provide clinical support since you are far from the hospital or from the healthcare agency. Why not? Okay, through your phone, through your gadget, help the patient, okay, achieve um, outcomes that you want. Let me give you a very good example. I've read this somewhere. In the 90s, there was what you call an around the world sailboat race. So sa isang sailboat, isang tao lang. The problem is, yung isang sailor had an abscess. Alam niyo yung abscess, di ba? Oo. That would, that got infected, and if not treated properly, that particular sailor would lose his arm. Now, the thing there is, he used wireless computer satellite technology. So what happened was he was put in touch by a doctor in a country in Boston, if I'm not mistaken. And that particular doctor, through that mobile technology, directed his treatment, therefore saving his arm. Diba? So, ano ang lesson doon? Yung telepono, yung satellite phone, ay ginamit para mapabuti yung pasyente. Ganun ang gusto ng telemedicine, to provide clinical support even if you are not physically present. Okay? Pangalawa, another element of telemedicine is to overcome geographical barriers. We connect users not in the same physical location, as I've mentioned. Ba? Pangatlo, in telemedicine, we use not only mobile phones but various types of ICT. Okay? Now, talking about these people, there are different technological classifications in telemedicine. Meron silang tinatawag na store and forward at real-time technology. Okay? Pag sinabi niyong store and forward, sa store and forward, usually an electronic image sa mga imaging to is either captured by digital camera, scanner, or other technologies, and okay, is stored so that it could be retrieved at a later time when needed. Okay, when it needs to be available, it's there. Yung isa naman na technology aside sa store and forward is real-time technology. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Yung real-time technology, pag kailangan mo ng health support, may makakausap ka. Either through chat or through phone. Yun yun. Yun yung various types ng telehealth technology or telemedicine technology. Kaya various types of ICT. Bakit nila ginagawa yun? Because of the fourth element. Our goal is to improve the health outcomes of our patients. Right? Okay. Another technology that we use in the community, or hopefully we can use in the community, is EMR. Okay? Ano po itong EMR? EMR was exhaustively discussed before, di ba? EMR is the collection of medical information about a patient or a people that is stored in your computer. So our end goal for the EMR is to replace our patient's record or medical history. In kalusugang pangkalahatan, this is very, very important because we need the data so that the government could pay that particular institution that took care of you. Diba? Kung walang datang available, hindi ka babayadan ng gobyerno. Alright? So, next, e-learning. Okay? E-learning. Sir, di ba community-based, but may e-learning? Okay. Now, e-learning is said to be the marriage of computer technology to the world of education. O, di ba? Education activities, as you well know, are intended to increase the knowledge of the learners. So kasama po yan dito kasi kailangan pa din ng mga healthcare professionals at ng ating mga pasyente na matuto. Di ba? So resources for such activities usually appear in many formats, especially now that computer technologies are available. So we have lectures, di ba? Self-learning computer activities, reading, simulations, tutorials, etc. Diba? So, what we must remember here is that education itself can be looked at as mental manipulation or manipulation of data and information. So, you could assimilate it to increase your knowledge. Diba? Yun lang naman yun eh. Binibigay yung data sa inyo, yung information, kailangan nyo siyang i-absorb para maging knowledge. Diba? And learning only occurs if it is facilitated by a teacher. Kasi we could give you tons of data. But if nobody is going to tell you what you need to get in order for you to learn, will you be able to appreciate those things? I think no. So in here, we just use the computer or the ICTs to deliver the data, to deliver the information. But in the end, people, it's still going to be the teacher who is going to guide you to learn. Okay? So, simply put, e-learning is, kumbaga sa ano ay assist. Di ba? Assist siya. It assists or mediates the learning by supplementing everything, but it is still and can be guided by the teacher. Okay? So when you talk about learning or e-learning in this case, it's the use of electronic tools to aid teaching. Now, as you well know, nowadays, because of the current situation, this can be done synchronously or asynchronously. Ano po ba ang pinakaiba nila? Pag sinabi yung synchronously, it happens in real time. It's live. Whereas asynchronous e-learning or learning is usually recorded. What you do is we record the video, we record the podcast, and you play it whenever it is possible for you to play it. If you are not hindered by poor internet connection or data or whatsoever. Now, when you talk about e-learning, okay, there are different styles in order for you to do e-learning. There are different, kumbaga sa ano ay atake. Ano-ano po ba yung mga atake na yon? Okay? Okay. Ano-ano yung mga atake na yon? So, there are 5 different approaches when doing e-learning. Okay? This can either be synchronous or asynchronous. The first is, wala akong styles eh. I'll just give this to you. The first is what we call drill and practice. In order for you to appreciate drill and practice, I would like you to imagine this. A picture was shown to you 20, 30, 40 times already. Diba? When something gets shown to you 20, 30, or 40 times already, what happens? What happens is you memorize that particular picture, those particular small details. Okay? That, people, is the basis of drill and practice. The drill and practice approach to e-learning was the first one to be introduced. Why? Because this is the best, okay, thing or approach for doing memorizations. The thing here is the computer program will produce or will show you flashcards. Paulit-ulit, paulit-ulit. Okay? Repetition is the key until such time that you memorize the concept. That is number one, drill and practice. Right? The second approach is what they call tutorial. Okay? Pag sinabi ninyong tutorial, the goal of your tutorial is to design, or the tutorial is designed to impart information to the learners. So when applying information and communication technology or computers in this particular tutorial, kasi di ba one-on-one ang tutorial. Pag computer ang gamit mo, okay, ang gagawin ng computer, it's going to give you a scenario example, or information is going to be fed. After the computer gives you that particular piece of information, it is going to ask you a question. If you answered the question correctly, the computer program will move on to the next concept, okay? So that you could assimilate another piece of information. But if you answered incorrectly yung tanong niya, it is going to rationalize why you were wrong. Then, it's again going to repeat another question from the same concept. Okay? So, simply put, hindi yan titigil until such time na ma-master mo at matuto ka. That's the second. Aling una? Drill and practice. Yung pangalawa, tutorial. Yung pangatlo ay tinatawag nilang simulation. Sir, can we do simulations using computer programs? Yes. The objective of a simulation in e-learning is to make the learner an actual participant in a situation that could either be very difficult, very dangerous, or time-consuming in the real world. So what happens here is that we provide the learner all the tools necessary as can be found in the real life setting. And the beauty of a simulation is that results are seen in real time. Okay? So, ito yung ginagawa natin sa RLE. Ito yung ginagawa natin sa virtual lab. Okay? So, usually what we do is we give them a case study. We act out, okay? Or a certain video is played. Then we imagine what we will do as nurses so we could practice the concepts that were given to us. Yun po yan. Yun yung simulation. The most important thing here is not everybody could be part of the simulation. Because when we give simulations, hindi ka dapat magbabantay kung ikaw yung teacher. That is the reason why the main consideration for people when doing simulations is that simulation, the thing that you will give, must be at the same level of knowledge of the student. Otherwise, hindi maganda. Kaya nga magandang magpa-simulate sa fourth year. Kasi knowingly or admittedly, pag fourth year ka na, halos nabigay na lahat sa'yo ng concepts ng nursing. Hindi kami nagpapa-simulate sa first year, second year. Kasi medyo limited pa yon. Pagdating ng third year niyan, ng fourth year, kahit anong case na ang pwede naming ibigay. Kasi more or less na-take na nila yon. Yun yung pangatlo, simulation. So, una, drill and practice. Pangalawa, tutorial. Pangatlo, simulation. Okay? Now, aside from those three for the explanation of concepts, they also use e-learning to improve your both their cognitive and their psychomotor skill. Okay? And they do that by applying games. Ang tawag nila dito, instructional games. Okay? So, usually games in e-learning are used to increase motivation. So, it could improve psychomotor skill. How? There is a game called Typing Master. What happens is that kailangan mong i-type, otherwise matatalo ka sa game. So, pabilis ng pabilis ng pabilis yung pipindutin mong letter. Or pahaba ng pahaba ng pahaba yung mga words. Ano po yun? Ang tinitrain sa'yo nun ay muscle memory. Okay? So, until such time na nagta-type ka, nakakabisado mo yung location ng keyboard kahit hindi mo na siya tignan. So, gumagaling ka habang naglalaro ka. Right? Yung isa naman ay pang-increase ng intellectual or cognitive ability mo. Why? Some games, okay, rely on the concept of yung drill and practice, yung una nyong approach. Di ba? Stage 1, ganito. Papakita yan ng picture. For example, papakita yan ng picture. Tapos papakita ulit. I-spot mo kung ano yung difference. Ganon. Stage 2, ganun ulit. Pero pakomplikado yung picture. Pero pag natalo ka, babalik yun sa unang-unang picture. So ikaw, dahil nakita mo na yun, what happens? Kabisado mo na yun. So mabilis ka lang sumagot. Diba? So, more or less, yung analytical skill mo, diba? Yung observation skills mo, napapractice mo din. At nag-enjoy ka kasi ito ay games. Okay? So, aside from games, people, we use computers or in e-learning, we also use computers to administer examinations or tests. Okay? Usually, my dear children, when an examination is given via the computer, we call it computerized adaptive tests. Ano po yung computerized adaptive tests? In the future, you will take NCLEX. NCLEX is a very good example of computerized adaptive tests. What happens? The examination, okay, is going to be composed of different questions from a test bank. The computer will automatically select a question. If you answer that, the computer program will select another question that is much harder than the preceding question or the first question it gave you. If you answer that, pipili na naman niya ng mas mahirap. Pili na naman niya ng mas mahirap until such time na matai-tai ka na kasi sobrang hirap na nung tanong mo. And that is how you know that you will pass your NCLEX. If it becomes really, really hard. O, di ba? Pag sobrang hirap na at hindi mo na siya masagot, yun po yun. Okay? So, yun ang applications ng ating ICT sa education. Okay? Usually, yun po yun. So, di ba? Community pa lang ako pero natapos ko na yung education part. Now, when dealing with ICTs and education, sorry, tumalon na ako kasi nandito na lang din ako eh. They use different technologies. They deliver knowledge, they deliver the data and the information by using different technologies. Okay? Meron sila tinatawag na multimedia, which is the most common. Ano po yung multimedia? Pag sabi yung multimedia, it's the use of interactive videos, DVDs, CDs, and a combination of hardware and software of your computer which displays images or videos. So more or less, multimedia is the one that we use in our synchronous and asynchronous learning. Kasi admittedly, most of you are visual learners. Right? So, yun po ang ating educational informatics, which is kasama din dito dun sa community. Bakit? Kasi as nurses, we need to always be abreast of the current topics and technologies. So, kung hindi ka available para mag-seminar in person, usually we get online classes. And usually what I've discussed to you are the ones that they employ for the training of nurses. Yun po yan. Okay? So, we now move on to the e-health projects or initiatives that are commonly used in the community health practice here in the Philippines. Okay, the e-health projects in the Philippines that are used in the community health practices are as follows. Okay, meron tayong tinatawag na electronic or electric field health service information system. Okay, there are different types. So, iba-iba po yan. Itong type na to ay health information system and electronic reporting. Yung iba alerts, yung iba data encoding, etc. Pero itong EFHIS ay electronic information health information system and electronic reporting. Before I move on, review. Ano po ba yung natawag ninyong FHSIS po na yan? Okay? Ano po ba yung FHSIS? So, in the community, pag sinabi niyong FHSIS people, this is the fundamental building block of the information that the government uses. Okay? The FHSIS usually contains data on um, demographics, okay, environment, and natality. So, dito pumapasok yung mga report ng vital statistics, ilan pinapanganak, ilan namamatay, di ba? Yung demographic datas, yung environmental datas and concerns, yung natality at yung mortality. And if you are going to access the DOH website, they actually have there yung FHSIS index per year. Okay? But what is in the Philippines per year? At kung i-access nyo yun, usually ang makikita nyo doon, yung PPI surveys po ninyo at yung maternal at um, child mortality. Yun po yung lumalabas sa DOH po ninyo. Okay? So, okay. This FHSIS is from the grassroots, from the center. So, they have different forms there. Kung makikita nyo mga mahahabang folder doon, yun yung fin-fill outan nila para makabuo ng FHSIS. The problem there is because it is paper records, mahirap siyang itali. So, they opted to put or to employ an electronic version of that so that data turnaround is faster. Diba? So, the EFHSIS people is an online version that was helped in conjunction with the DOH. The beauty of this is that now, okay, instead of writing everything, then nandun lang yun, pag nabaha, nawala na, the data from that FHSIS online can be now uploaded so that it can be analyzed, okay, at a much faster pace. So they have real-time data. Yun po yung FHSIS na electronic. So ito po yung process flow po niya. All data that is collected in the RHU or the health center, okay, will be uploaded, will be forwarded to the municipality, will be forwarded to the provincial, will then be forwarded to the regional, which is then forwarded to the DOH National Office. So yan ang process flow nila. So kung makikita nyo, it's very, very simple. Yung data, yung mga ITR, TCL, M1, yun yung mga isa-isang form. For example, may nanganak, ibibilang ka dun sa isang form. Di ba? So, ibig sabihin ng M1, monthly form yun. So, they have monthly reports. They have quarterly reports. Di ba? They have annual reports. Yan po yun. Okay? So, those reports are computerized. Then, they are forwarded or uploaded to the municipal, then to the provincial, then to the regional, then to the national. Yan po yun. So, ito pa yung isang process flow niya. So, more or less, mas mabilis siyang na-forward sa national government. Yun ang kagandahan nito. Kasi online na siya eh. Right? So, ang maganda dito, since mabilis ang turnaround, decisions could be made by the DOH at a much faster rate, diba? There are public analysts at work so that the DOH or that helps the DOH decide on what to do. For example, ang dami ditong ganitong cases. Oops, ang dami ditong maternal mortality. Diba? So they could decide based on the EFHIS data. Right? So yun po yun. There is a parang alternative for that or an add-on. Ito yung tinatawag nilang Health Geographic Information Systems. Dito po, ang kaibahan nito, this is parang graphic. From the data of the FHSIS, it's going to generate, okay, a map. Oh, you look at that example. Ito yung sa environmental data of Carmen, Bohol, for example. Um, it shows there yung safe water supplies, okay? It shows there people with sanitary toilets, etc. Ayan. So, ganyan po siya. Saan po galing yung data? Sa grassroots. Hinouse to house yan ng mga BHW, ng mga healthcare worker. Tapos, i-forward sa national government. So, yung national government, meron silang Health Geographical Information Systems or Health GIS, which is part or an add-on of the Electronic Field Health Service Information System. Okay? So, yan po yan. Now, we are all familiar with your IMCI, di ba? And the problem with IMCI is that it is very, very difficult to memorize everything. Okay? That's the reason why sometimes you don't see it applied na, uy, i-IMCI natin yan. Wala namang ganun eh. Automatic yan na lumalabas sa community kasi nasanay na lang sila. Pero minsan hindi nila alam na ini-employ nila yung IMCI. Now, because of that particular problem of memorizing IMCI, maniwala kayo sa hindi, yung mga ibang community health nurse, madadiagnose nila yan. Pneumonia, for example, or cough and cold lang, mga ganun. Alam nila kung anong gagawin. Pero, okay, ipa-recite mo yung IMCI, hindi nila yon kabisado ng word for word. So, we have this electronic IMCI, the type of which is an e-learning system. Okay? So, this was developed in conjunction with the Ateneo Innovation Center. So, this is an electronic version of IMCI and you just use your mobile device. So, ayan o. Kung mapapansin nyo yung screenshot, galing siya sa cellphone. So, iba-iba yung kulay. Di ba? Pink, green, at yellow. Alright? So, ang maganda dito, kahit hindi mo na maalala or kabisado, basta alam mo kung paano i-assess yung bata, you just put a tick mark and the EIMCI will give you the particular color that corresponds with your assessment. Di ba madali? So, alam mo na kung ano ang gagawin mong interventions. Pag hindi mo pa din alam, ibibigay din sa'yo ng EIMCI. So, mas madali ang buhay mo. Okay? Oh. Now, another e-learning tool that we use in the community is yung National Telehealth Center learning videos. Again, this is an e-learning tool that is usually used by healthcare professionals and patients alike. So, this one here was sponsored by the USAID or the United States Agency for International Development. They sponsored, but it was UP Manila, okay, who created those videos. So those particular videos will be discussing different conditions like TB, stroke, bird flu, and child poisoning. So ito po yun. So this is in the community. The one there in front of the laptop is preparing to show the videos to a focus group which is at her back. Okay? So ito yung example ng video. Parang documentary siya. Ito yung sa TB. Di ba? So, ituturo niya yung mga symptoms, paano siya magagamot, ano ang gamutan, ano ang iniinom, ano ang common na side effect, etc. So, yun po yung NTHC or the National Telehealth Center learning videos. Okay? So, yan po yan. Now, another program that we use in the community is the SPASMS or the Synchronized Patient Alert via SMS. Nung Kulin ay we're joking about this. Okay, high-tech na kami sa community. Bakit? May alert system na kami. Alam nyo ba, na sa community, ay nagbibigay sila ng libreng Samsung na phone. Oo, touchscreen. Okay? Okay. Ito ay binibigay nila usually sa mga TB patients. Bakit po? Kasi, in practice, before, TB patients usually need to go to the center, as you well know, magpa-inject ng streptomycin tsaka uminom ng RIPES nila. FYI, parang sa aking pagkakaalam, Antipolo na lang ang nagbibigay ng streptomycin. Sa iba, hindi na sila nagbibigay nun. Pero tayo, nagbibigay pa tayo nun, di ba? Minsan pinapa-inject ko pa sa inyo. So, spasms. Ano po itong spasms? Synchronized patient alert via SMS. So, example ko, yung TB. Dati pupunta yan para mapanood mo kung paano uminom. Ngayon, hindi. Ngayon, pag uminom siya ng gamot, may pipindutin lang siya doon, alert yon doon sa kanyang healthcare provider sa health center. Yon ang kagandahan ng spasm. So, this is an add-on to the wireless access system for the patients to be reminded of their medications and when to follow up. Yun nga, may button lang doon, parang alert or panic button. Pag inom niya, mag-reflect na yun na ininom niya. Right? Tawag natin doon, spasms. Yan. So, alert po yan, alerts. Alright? Okay. So, okay. Your speed or your surveillance in post-extreme emergencies and disasters actually is a program with much success. So, ang type niya ay disaster management and SMS reporting because disaster management for local government units are such a rage nowadays, especially because of force majeure or natural occurrences like typhoons, earthquakes. So, maganda itong program na ito. It is a very simple, inexpensive, but very sophisticated public health surveillance system. And it is used to design, to collect, analyze, and disseminate information so that the people could take action. Okay po. So, more or less, your speed is an early detection or early warning system designed to detect unusual increases or occurrences. Sir, sa natural disasters lang po ba ito? Hindi po. Pati po sa diseases at different health conditions. That is the reason why they employ this so that they could monitor also health trends so that they could identify appropriate responses. Okay. How the speed works? So that particular diagram there illustrates how speed works. Speed works by by gathering continuous or collecting continuous data from SMS from the people in the community. Now it gets reported, okay, and all the reports are compiled in a database and it is then forwarded to analysts so that they could, um, get the data and they could act accordingly. So yun po yun. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, SMS reporting ang nakalagay dyan for disaster management. Now, ang objective nito, kaya meron po tayo nito, is again for early detection, unusual increases in communicable and non-communicable diseases, okay? Monitoring of health trends so that we could respond accordingly. Also, in other areas for natural disasters din po itong speed na ito. But since hindi naman lagi nagkakaroon ng natural disasters, sa communicable at non-communicable diseases po tayo nagfo-focus. Okay? So, ang target beneficiaries po natin dito usually ay ang disaster-affected populations. Ang immediate beneficiaries po nito ay ang health emergency managers and decision makers kasi sa kanila napupunta yung data. Okay? So this is again for early detection. Now, it is funded initially by the World Health Organization and it is employed by the DOH Health Emergency and Management Staff or the DOH HEMS. So sila po yung nagpakalat ng programa na ito. Pero we do take note na wala pa po lahat ng community nito. It would be very, very good for us siguro if all the LGUs and the community health centers have this speed. In the most current of time, sa Santa Cruz wala pa po tayo nito. Okay? Sana meron na. Pero at the moment, wala pa tayo. Kung meron tayo spasms, pero yung speed wala pa. Okay? So, again, your speed will allow the community health nurse to submit daily reports of prevalent diseases. So, more or less, this is going to lessen their workload kasi hindi na nila kailangang mag-house to house para tanungin kung sino yung may communicable at non-communicable disease kasi they could get the data just by, receiving it via SMS, email, or any other technologies that are available. Ang maganda dito, they could also respond in real time because they could send immediate notification alerts. Okay? So, matatanggap agad ng community health nurse yung from the person concerned agad-agad yung complaint niya or yung condition niya. Okay? So, ayan. Reporting, stat, mabilis. Okay? Kasi pag natanggap niya yung data, pwede niya na yung i-forward agad-agad. Okay? So, ang legal framework po nito, bakit po tayo may speed? This is due to the RA 10121 or the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act of 2010. Okay? Meron din pong nilabas ang DOH na circular 168 of 2004 which is the National Policy on Health Emergency and Disasters. Gaya ng sabi ko, communicable, non-communicable at yung mga national disasters po ito. Okay? So, that is for speed. Meron din tayong tinatawag na RX box. Now, here in the Philippines, meron tayong tinatawag na telemedicine. Actually, when the pandemic started, this was very, very much promoted by the DOH so that all consultations done is through phone na lang daw. Oo. So, meron tayong telemedicine sa Pilipinas. Now, this particular RX box here is actually composed or is actually a gadget, a multi-component device. Parang yung diniscuss ni Ma'am Colleen po ninyo dati, yung physiologic monitoring devices. It is composed of a BP monitor, a pulse oximeter, an ECG, FHR, maternal tachometer, and temperature sensor so that, we could better monitor physiologic changes so that we have better access to life-saving healthcare services. So, it looks like this. Okay? So, yan yung tinatawag ninyong RX box. So, if you have noticed, this is um, an all-in-one physiologic monitoring device. So, health centers or communities have this. Yun nasa left side. A very good example is the first ones that were produced. And this one came from Zamboanga, yung RX box device circa 2016. Okay? Ang maganda sa RX box, this is a telemedicine device. It's going, remember physiologic monitoring devices. So the signals that it gets, the data that it gets or collects is going to be stored in the EMR or the electronic medical record, and it is going to get uploaded automatically via the internet diretso sa clinical specialist saan sa PGH. So once the PGH specialist gets the data, okay, he or she can now give ample advice. Yun ang maganda doon. Based on the signals that the RX box will collect. Ano ang maganda dito? Because of that availability in data, this is going to improve the referral system. Kasi isipin mo from one province to another, diretso sa isang expert sa PGH. Diba? So teleconsultations ang magaganap. So once the specialist gets the data, he or she will give advice via audio-video conferences within the NTSP, the National Telehealth Service Program. So, isa din po yun sa pinopromote ng ating Department of Health. Okay? So, ang aim nila is to reduce overall cost of healthcare. Bakit? Hindi ka na magpapacheck up sa hospital at magbabayad ng consultation fee. Diba? So, more or less, this is going to reduce the overall cost of healthcare because this is going to enable them to at least diagnose, ba, and monitor or treat patients within the rural health facility. Now, the first RX boxes were funded by the DOST, Philippine Council for Health Research, or the Department of Science and Technology. It was developed by UP. Yan po yun. So, this is proudly Philippine-made, my dear children. So, it began in 2014, and as of date, as of date, so we have now a total of 143 units that are deployed in different rural facilities already all over the country. Okay? So lahat yan nakakonekta sa isang network, lahat yan nakakonekta sa PGH. Right? So, yun po yung tinatawag ninyong RX box. Now, another telemedicine technology with combined e-learning capabilities is what they call your bodyworks. What is your bodywork? Now, your bodywork is, or just simply is, to find a medical specialist that could help you. Kasi people in GIDA, they don't have access to directories. They don't have the proper connection, so that when they do have their checkups or when they do get checked, mahirap maghanap ng doktor. So Bodyworks people allow those particular people in geographically isolated, depressed areas to just send referrals to medical specialists. Saan? Syempre sa public, UPPGH. Just by using SMS and email. It was started in 2004 by UP, and it is funded by the NTHC, or the National Telehealth Center, funded by the by Government of Commission of Information Communication Technology. So UP na naman po ang precursor nito, 'di ba? So yun po. Again, Bodyworks is just to, get referrals para makapagpa-check up po sila sa specialist. Yun yung Bodyworks natin. Okay? So, Bodyworks is again part of your telemedicine, sponsored by UP. Right? Now, we have your SERGS Work Rural Health Information System. This is a type of the electronic medical record that we use in the community. So, what is SEGRIS? Sinabi yung SEGRIS, pag sinabi niyo pong SEGRIS, this was developed locally in Davao by SurgeWorks. Kaya siya SEGRIS or SurgeWorks Rural Health Information System. Simply put, this is an EMR for the RHU. Kasi 'di ba, ang isa sa pinakamadaming kinokolektang data sa lahat ay ang mga rural health units natin. So, their goal was to put everything in a computer storage, put up ample databases so that they could efficiently save data and retrieve it whenever they need it. Yun yung SEGRIS. So, ano po yung fields na nandoon sa EMR? Depende po yun, naka-tailor fit po yun sa needs ng ating community. Pero more or less, ang fields niyan, yung nakalagay doon sa questionnaire na ginamit po ninyo nung nag-house to house kayo, nung nag-duty kayo sa akin. Yun po yun. Kasi those are the particular data that we need in the community. Okay? So that is SEGRIS. Meron din silang tinatawag na SHINE. Yung SHINE ay parang SEGRIS din. Ito ay EMR plus the capability of SMS reporting. SHINE is Secure Health Information Network Exchange. Ano po ba yung SHINE? Pag sinabi mong SHINE, SHINE is an initiative of yung ating smart communication. Okay? So, the SHINE people, the innovative feature of SHINE are the 4 R's. It could record, it could remind, it could refer, and it could report. Okay? So, this is one particular integrated system for healthcare professionals to handle a wide variety of conditions, especially in the community. Now, since this is SMART and PLDT people, you are ensured that, the communication network is very, very vast. So vast, in fact, that in the implementation of SHINE in the Visayas region, okay, there were or there are 9,500 cases and counting. Okay, it is used by 10 health centers, 13 RHUs, 4 district hospitals, and 2 tertiary hospitals. But the implementation of this is mula sa Luzon na sa Visayas regions po siya. Yan po yung tinatawag ninyong SHINE. Okay? So, Mapapansin nyo, iba-iba ang system sa bawat geographical area ng Pilipinas. Mamaya ma-appreciate nyo na nagkakaproblema tayo dyan. Okay? Oh, the 10th one is the wireless access for health or WA. This is an EMR again and an HIS. Okay? Electronic Medical Record and Health Information System. Ano po ba ito? I-discuss ko din mamaya yung cheats. Cheats is a system that they use in the community. Okay? But since cheats is becoming older, my dear children, and the cheats is usually just based on one particular area or on one particular PC, the wireless access for health was made so as to update or augment cheats. And now, they are trying to connect cheats, okay, via the internet. Or they want cheats to have internet access. When cheats has an internet access, they will now call it wireless access for health or WA. It was implemented in 2010 in Tarlac. It was a partnership between different corporations, LGUs, and NGOs, including SMART. Okay. There was actually a study by our students for this. They went to Tarlac and they studied this. Di ba? So, yun po yung yun po yung WA. So, para siyang cheats na internet connected. Ano ba yung cheats na sinasabi nila? Sinabi niyong cheats, ito yung nauna. This is the Community Health Information Tracking System. This is the first electronic medical record in the community. In 2004, it was developed by Dr. Tolentino of the UP College of Medicine. The first cheats was installed in Pasay Health Center. Okay? After the installation in Pasay Health Center, because they saw that it was very, very effective and it made work very efficient, it was used in more than 48 health centers. So, cheats divided or helped the community health workers by providing them with different modules, recording, databases, so that all the data, for example, sa EPI or sa NTP, ay madaling ma-store at ma-record. Now, Cheats was a free and open source software which we have discussed before. Kung gusto nyong makita, meron silang website. Yan yung demo ng Cheats. Okay? So, this is how they set up Cheats. So, cheat setup, kailangan mo lang ng PC. Okay? Kailangan mo ng database. At yung database, kailangan ng data cable or Bluetooth. Diba? It doesn't necessarily need an internet connection. So, after setting that up, health worker, after field work, i-encode ang data sa cheats inside the health center. Okay? Now, if the cheats has been upgraded to WA, okay, the health worker can now retrieve the data from cheats during field work for follow-ups or when they are making reports. Yun ang maganda doon. Hindi na sila pupunta sa health center para tignan yung ledger online na ito. Yun yung cheats. It's the database of the community. Okay? So, in here is an actual picture of cheats being used. Ayan, o diba? Social, naka-laptop ko sila. Kakaintindihan po. Yan ang cheats. So, cheats, again, is standalone. If it gets connected to the internet, you call it WA. Now, since I have been discussing about the technologies, sir, what are the hindrances on why we cannot implement those things here? Okay, so these are the different factors that is going to affect the implementation of e-health in the Philippines. Okay, first is by budget. We have very, very limited health budget. Diba? Sabi nga nila, only 2% of the gross national income is spent on health. Hence, napaka-hirap, napaka-ano. Another thing is the services was devolved from the national government to the local government. So pag mayaman ang syudad, well and good. Pag mahirap ang ng syudad or ang probinsya, that is very bad kasi they would not prioritize health spending. Di ba? Another, um, emergence of free and open source software. So, the this is a boon. Ibig sabihin, maganda to sa atin. Bakit? Instead na bibilhin pa natin, there are free, which we could modify like cheats. So, it makes the source code free. And that being free is going to make that particular software available for everyone. The thing there is they will still need to invest on hardware, on the peopleware. Ibig sabihin, kailangan pa nilang i-train kasi even with technology, you will still need knowledge in order to operate that particular technology and be efficient. Pangatlo, decentralized government. Ito po yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. Bawat isla, bawat pulo, iba-iba ang gumawa, iba-iba ang ginagamit. So the problem there is interoperability. Diba? Yes, may systems. Yes, existing. Ang problema, hindi siya interoperable. Kasi iba-iba ang gumawa. Iba-iba. Okay? So, kung gagamit ka ng one system at magta-transfer ka to another system, uulit ka na naman. Mawawala lahat. Yun po yun. Kasi they are unrelated. Okay? Next. There was a scenario before I started in Fatima during my formal training pala as a clinical instructor. After my training, sa public yun, tandang-tanda ko yun. Sabi ko, pwede po ba akong humingi ng certification galing po sa inyo? Sabi sa akin nung hinihingan ko, na may edad naman na po kasi siya, so understandable. Ay, antay mo yung secretary. Ayokong buksan yung computer. Baka masira ko. See? Ganun sila. So, they are very, very, very much unfamiliar with new technologies that they are very afraid to use it. And that's the same. Target users are unfamiliar with technology. The personnel that is or should supposed to use that particular technology does not have the skill or the knowledge. Why? Because we have limited health budget again. It all falls and boils down to our limited health budget. Okay? Another, we have a surplus of digital native registered nurses. Now, there was a study in 2001 by Prensky. They operationally defined digital nurses as a person who grew up and is familiar with digital technologies. Okay? This is good. Bakit? Parang kayo, hindi na namin kayo kailangan turuan masyado eh. Theory na lang tinuturo pero yung application madali niyong ma-pick up. Kaya yung mga digital nurses because you grew up with this. Diba? Yun ang maganda. We have a surplus of them. We just don't have the budget to train this particular surplus digital native registered nurses. Okay? Oh. So, another good thing that happened is RN Heals. Okay po. Ano po ito? Ito yung nurse deployment program na ngayon. So, what happened was, pinapadala ng DOH sa mga liblib na lugar yung ating mga nurses. Okay? For 1 year. Anong maganda doon? Dahil RN yung nandun and we have a lot of surplus digital native registered nurses who know about technology, maybe, just maybe, pag napadpad sila sa liblib na lugar, they could apply their knowledge in that particular area. Yun yung maganda doon. So number 5 is very good for us. Okay? So if you want to read more, people, DOH, FAMORCA, and World Health Organization. Doon po ang reference ko po dyan. Right? Now, aside from its applications in the community, okay, and education, which I'm done na kanina pa, let me discuss in brief its application or ICT applications in technology, in research. As you well know, due to the availability of different technologies. Okay, it has increased, or our increased access to computers actually made it feasible for us very busy nurses in many settings to facilitate yung the process or yung proseso ng paggawa ng research, di ba? Which actually in turn improves our nursing practice. Kasi before the advent of personal computers, undertaking a research is a momentous event. Di ba? It was extremely time consuming. It was a very challenging task. Typewriters were used, handwriting or handwritten notes were employed, di ba? But due to the advances in technologies being made, we now use technology from inception, di ba? From conceptualizing the paper up to its execution. Okay? So there are actually different processes, or there are several computer applications that you can use when you develop your nursing research. For example, una natin, pag kayo ay gumawa ng thesis, di ba? Una, gawa ka muna ng topic. Topic identification. Topic identification, you could, identify a chosen topic through pwedeng online research, di ba? Online journals, word processors, sorry, journals like EBSCOhosts, di ba? Databases, ano pa? Google, di ba? Google is your friend. Email discussion groups, websites, and etc. Di ba? Tapos, pag nakagawa ka na ng title, hahanap ka na ng literature to know what has been studied and what is lacking. So, dito ngayon papasok yung inyong mga databases at ang inyong World Wide Web. Ba? Mga databases po ninyo, like EBSCOhost, which Science Direct, which you have actually access to. What else? After that, you could, also use technology for resource files. Dati, nung kami nila, Ma'am Colleen, ang nagtitesis nung kami ay high school, meron kaming mga note cards, index cards. Ngayon, simple na lang because of the advent of word processors, spreadsheets. You just copy and paste sa notepad. Di ba? Oh, para saan ba yun? Kasi pag nagawa ka ng bibliography ng araw, ng references mo, di ba? APA format mo, mamanualin mo yan, itatype. Ngayon, hindi. Meron ka ng tinatawag na Zotero. Ilalagay mo lang yung ISBN number. Automatic, lumalabas na yun sa references. At ba? What else? You can also use technology during the data collection process of your thesis. Lalo na during this time of pandemic, everybody, okay, will employ an online survey data collection or will interview via available platforms like Zoom or Google Meet. Okay? What else? When the time comes na you will have your proposal preparation. So what will you use? You will use your word processors. You will use your spreadsheets. You will use your PowerPoint softwares. Diba? Pag na-approve ang proposal mo, mag-data collection ka, data analysis, and you will use, ang pinaka-common dyan, yung itinuro ni Ma'am Colleen last time sa NRES class ko, yung statistical package for social sciences. Kaya yun itinuro so that at least you would know how to encode and you would know how to interpret so that you would know if you will reject or accept your hypothesis. SPSS. Pag naman quali ka, in vivo. O in vivo. Sir, ano ba yung in vivo? Usually, in vivo is the one that supports qualitative coding. Mahirap kasi sa coding ng quali. Titignan mo ng titignan lahat ng statements until such time that you will reach saturation. And sometimes it's going to take a very long time. And since quali is very subjective, okay, sometimes it's very hard to discover connections in, you know, the 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 themes or your interviews that were collected. So, ang hirap kumuha ng insight. So, ang maganda sa in vivo, okay, it's going to organize, it's going to manage your interviews, your logs, so that it could divide it into themes, which is going to make your life easier. Yun yung tinatawag nilang in vivo. Yung SPSS, it's all about numbers. It's like a big glorified Microsoft Excel, just better and easier to use, in my opinion. Diba? O, ano pa? Um, pag okay ng manuscript mo, naisulat mo na lahat, ang gagawin, in the end, check natin kung na-plagiarize. So we have what you call turn it in. Yeah? So there is just an acceptable margin for you to have copied and pasted everything. Pag hindi, your paper is plagiarized. So that is actually the effect of ICT for our research. Diba? So what you must remember, people, is that as students, as nurse researchers also, we must exploit every available technology that could actually make our lives easier. Gaya ng lagi kong sinasabi sa inyo, Google is your friend. Diba? So, with that, my dear children, I am now ending your finals or most of your final lessons. The future of nursing informatics, where do we go from here, is going to be discussed by, again, your Mom Colleen. Thank you all for listening.